So, Chapter 16. Chapter 16, its title is Sense Organs, but we're also looking at not only those sense organs for the general sensations that we've been talking about, but we're also looking at the sense organs for our special senses. And some of the things that we've looked at up to this point, we had those nociceptors, which were the ones for pain. And now we're looking at, we looked at the chemical senses, where we talked about taste and smell. So if you remember from these chemical senses, the chemical senses for taste, we had the little taste bud, and it's really interesting how the fibers synapse directly on those little taste buds, and then they send that information to the area of the brain that can process it. And then, of course, we had our sense of smell. One of the things that I want you guys to remember, sense of smell, these sense organs, these receptors, they do get to be replaced, mainly because of how much exposure they do have. And with the sense of smell, it synapses and sends information directly to the areas of the brain. It did not have to go through the thalamus. So this is why the sense of smell played such an important role in making memories, because of where it's located, close to the frontal cortex, all right, and how it has such a direct connection to areas of the brain that are going to form memories. The next part that we're going to move into, hearing. They have added equilibrium as a special sense. And it's a very interesting sensation, so to speak. But with hearing, we are now going to have to take information that's coming to us on air molecules. Now that's kind of interesting. They're going to vibrate parts of our ear. So we're now going to have to take what's coming to us on the air and turn it into a sensation that the brain can respond to. Equilibrium is what we're going to have to respond to based on our orientation, standing, sitting, twirling, tumbling, all right? Movement, front, back, up, down, side, side, and balance, which will also need help with those proprioceptors. Both hearing and equilibrium are going to be found in our inner ear. The inner ear, when it says it's a maze, that's a little bit of an understatement, because it's termed a labyrinth. If you know anything about that term, that's a pretty complex structure that exists. It's a maze that is going to be fluid filled. What could fluid have to do with making sure that we can either hear or work on our equilibrium. For example, a level. Does everybody know a level? Okay? And how you've got the fluid in that little tube, and you kind of take that level and put it on something to see if it's going to be level or plumb. Is everybody familiar with that? Okay. Kind of have that idea, because that is a lot of what's happening with these fluids. Okay? And then those little fluids are going to have the ability to act on the nerve fibers. So it gets a little interesting, I think. So, if we're looking at hearing and equilibrium, where hearing is concerned, sound. Sound, they have so many terms associated with sound. Like, for example, the hertz and the amplitude and the pitch and all this sort of stuff. I always think of a speaker system, a stereo system. And in all honesty, I still struggle with these hertzes and these amplitudes and these pitches and all that sort of stuff, and how you're supposed to get like that perfect sound. Do y'all know anybody who's always after that perfect sound from their stereo system? Okay, yeah. Me too. So, sound. Well, one of the things that includes pitch. Pitch is going to be, is it too high or too low? Have y'all ever, like, done the thing with where you've got, like, the what do you put in your ears?
Headphones?
Well, you think about the headphones, but you know how, like, singers have the thing stuck in their ear so that, you know, they're not, it's sort of like earbuds.
I know what you're talking about.
Like the plug.
The plugs. The plugs. Okay, that word would not come to me. All right, so have you ever had the plugs in and talk? And did you kind of go like, whoa, is that how I sound? And I kind of wonder, you know, like, because you know how singers have all the stuff always over their ears and everything? And I'm like thinking, man, okay, that is a talent, because if I sound that way singing, which I don't like to listen to myself on this right here. I really don't. Okay? Because I'm like, seriously, I sound like that? And I'm like, I guess so. Because what I hear and what comes across on that right there is not the same, you know. But anyway, so if you think about it, that kind of helps you give an idea, or get an idea on the pitch that you can hear and that sort of thing. Now, pitch I understand, all right, too high or too low, that's relatively easy. Now, frequency. Frequency, if we think about an air wave, all right, what we're going to see is how many of those come per second. So we're going to have structure that these air molecules with that noise, that sound, that what we're hearing is moving to. And it's going to be up to those structures to take that information, turn it into something we can hear, that we can process. Well, in sound, hertz, okay, which is that frequency, we get to hear about 20 to 20,000 hertz total, okay? I think really high end, think about the 20,000, think about hearing a plane, like a plane taking off, landing, that sort of thing. Our speech is usually about 1,500 to 5,000. So, of course, if somebody's a loud talker, okay, might be a little bit higher. Somebody's a soft talker, might be a little bit lower. But that's the range that we get to hear it in. How loud something is. They call that the sound energy, which is a energy based on those movements coming to us on those waves. Loudness, that sound energy, the intensity, we're going to know as our amplitude. This gets expressed in decibels. Now, I know that's one of the terms that tends to be like associated when you're looking at like speaker systems and everything, like maybe for your house, your home entertainment, whatever that case might be. But look at this information. Decibels are not linear, meaning you don't go from 1 to 2. You may go from 1 to 2, but it's not a 1 jump. So that would be linear. So decibels are just like the metric system, factors of 10. So if you go from 1 to 2, it's a 10-fold jump. So if you went from 2 to 3, you basically say 10 times 10, which would be 100 jump. Does that make sense? Okay. So a normal conversation, usually about 60 decibels. When something gets to be about 120 decibels, you begin to have pain in your ears. And sometimes stuff can be so loud, they burst the eardrum, and of course, bleeding. You know, you gotta let the eardrum heal, that sort of thing. The anatomy of the ear. It's a very unique anatomy, to say the least. And everything it does, it's pretty amazing. We have what's called our outer or the external ear, you know, the part we can see. And this part of the ear, the outer external ear, it's a funnel. That's what it does. Because if you ever take, you know, if you do your ears like this, it sounds different, okay? And if you leave it like this, it sounds different. It's a funnel for moving those air waves into your ear. We're going to find that we have the auditory canal, all right, which would begin like right there. They're trying to show like right through here, okay? This is termed the external acoustic meatus, because meatus means an opening, all right? This is the passage leading through the temporal bone. So if you remember studying the bones of the skull for this, for these special senses of hearing and sight, the bones play a huge part in these structures, especially the ear. So if we're looking at this temporal bone, this is all structure that we begin to look at for the ear. So it's kind of hard to really explain. You have to kind of look at it. You got all this stuff.